Okay, we're on the field. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back. Third match of the third day of Alliance Tournament 8. We have Veni Vidi Vici V3 versus Honourable Templum of Alcedonia. Wonderful alliance name to try and pronounce when you're in a hurry there. And we have on the field for V3 a pair of Hurricanes, a pair of Drakes, a Harbinger, a Slipnir, a Scimitar, and a pair of Griffins. That makes 99 points.
And for HTA team, I'm just gonna say HTA from now on. We have a Loki, 3 Tengus, a Nighthawk, 2 Daredevils, and a Scimitar. And CC Piccola is giving the countdown in local, and the match is starting.
Yep, and it's interesting to see that, again, both teams have gone pretty much for points denial. HTA fielding 100 points flat. Match is underway already, and we have V3, just an absolute swarm of light drones, Hobgoblin 2s out there.
Yeah, V3 is unleashing their entire, I'm guessing their entire setup full of Hobgoblin 2s. And I think the Hobgoblins are actually going towards the, let's see here, the Daredevil pilot from the HTA team.
Yep, immediately one of the Hurricanes there from the V3 team, primaried by all of those Tengus and Nighthawks. Just an absolute flurry of advanced heavy missiles. Caldari Navy Fulmination and Thunderbolt Fury heavy missiles heading for the one of the Hurricanes of the V3 team there.
Yeah, I'm not very sure why they're focusing on the Hurricanes so early in the game, because they do have the 2 Griffins that are obviously being wrapped up very quickly by the Scimitar pilot, but the Hurricane is starting to bleed into structure, so I suppose they're actually losing some of their DPS now. So as that V3 Hurricane goes down, we have a little bit of DPS loss, but we still have a lot of ECM power that's being provided by the 2 very humble Griffin frigates here on the V3 team.
Yeah, it looks as if we have HTA there straight away, just trying to negate the DPS of the V3 team. Wow, HTA already looking on the brink of losing their Scimitar. There he goes, he is down and out. So HTA's logistics is off the field now, whereas V3's logistics ship Scimitar there, Krashala, remains untouched.
Yeah, I'm not very sure why HTA decided to go for the Hurricane to start with, because, well, you know, the Hurricane does provide a lot of DPS. I think they should really just take down the Griffins first, because you can see here the Griffins, I think that the Griffins actually helped them to take down the Scimitar much more quickly than if they didn't have, you know, any jamming power at all.
Yeah, both the Griffins there gone from the V3 team. Wow. It's not moving too quickly. You can see there, Loki straight away. Ow! Wow, that was quick. Loki for the HTA team down and out as well there. Leaving 3 Tengus and Nighthawk, 2 Daredevils on the field.
Yeah, and even though the Loki just kind of went down very quickly, I think the Daredevils actually goes down a lot more quickly. They're both gone now, leaving only 3 Tengus and the Nighthawk behind for the HTA team. Yeah, they're actually starting to be at range, so they're firing at the Hurricane that's on the V3 team right now. He's taking about, let's say, he has about 40% shield left.
Yeah, this is excellent use of missiles. You can see them there. We've got some really good coordinated use of damage types here. We've got the HTA team, the 3 Tengus and the Nighthawk, absolutely battering the shields off with EM-based missiles, and then quickly switching and giving a brunt of kinetic and explosive. It's impressive to actually see them coordinate like this. It's good stuff.
You know, Varone, I think the strategic cruisers, they do look, I think their shapes look very strange. I think, you know, maybe the Tengu looks a bit like just a gray fish, so on, and all the other ships like the Loki and, God forbid, the Legion, they all look like different bugs and, you know, amphibians of different kind. What do you think about that?
It's a bit of a random thought in the middle of a match, that's for sure. But yeah, it's interesting. I've always liked the look of the Tengu. I think it's a great looking ship. It's very powerful. We can see just how much damage the thing is doing. We've got 1 Tengu there for HTA in trouble. He's about to hit armor. Wow. Very surprised that there's enough DPS left there to really do that much damage. These Tengus appear to be completely buff or passively tanked, so they've got shield hardeners running, but wow, it's working out really well for V3.
Yeah, V3 is actually taking the upper hand right now. I think their Hurricanes and their Sleipners are actually dishing out most of the damage, as well as their 2 Drakes that are still left on the field. And I think there's a definite huge advantage for V3 right now because they still have their Scimitar pilot, who's hardly taking any shield damage. And so we're probably not going to see much damage being done to the V3 team, while the other 2 Tengus and the Nighthawk is probably going to have a lot of trouble trying to just stay afloat themselves.
Yeah, I think we can see there in Alliance Tournament Public people are calling already, and I think it's pretty obvious that V3 are going to take this one. I mean, they still have the logistics on the field. Those Griffins from V3, sacrificial but doing an excellent job at the start to keep the logistics from HTA out of the running while they took him down. It's good to see. Oh, it looks like we are going to lose a Harbinger from the V3 team, reaching for their DPS there. It's interesting to see that these 2 Tengus and a single Nighthawk are actually starting to fight back.
Yeah, the Harbinger from the V3 team it's about to pop. We all know that Harbingers are very much like glass cannons. They're very high damage, but not much tank at all. So when it goes down into heavy like armor like this quickly, you know that it's set up for gank and not much for tank.
Yep, it's generally a risk that the most teams tend to take. They'll either go all gank or all tank, and it's generally in a tournament situation it is either one or the other. There's very few people go for a balance between. You can see that the Harbinger is down. For V3 we have a Hurricane, 2 Drakes, a Sleipnir, and their logistics ship, a Scimitar, still in the field. For HTA we have a Tengu and a Nighthawk.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to work on the Nighthawk right now. All the drones, the Hobgoblins and everything, they're now set on him. So I think it's going to go down pretty fast. Maybe we'll see quite a bit of damage coming out from the other team. So we have a Hurricane and 2 Drakes and a Sleipnir on the V3 team, and then just a Tengu and a Nighthawk for the HTA team.
Yep, it looks as if they're working on that last Nighthawk now from the HTA team. They're all in, very heavy, close range. Nighthawk sat roughly at the centre of the arena. In fact, it doesn't appear that he's moved much since the start of the match, and he now just basically has what's left of the V3 team crowded around him, giving him a good beat.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the CC Play employees at Iceland really like fish, and so I think they've actually paid us. They said that they were going to pay us a little bit for, if we incorporate the word fish into our commentary. So I'm going to try to incorporate some seafood vocabulary here. So you can see that the Nighthawk is being surrounded by squid tentacles and lots of, squid tentacles of hobgoblins trying to squish it to death.
Yep, and there we go. Nighthawk is down. Only a Tengu left on the field for HTA. Hurricane, 2 Drakes, Sleipnir and Scimitar on the field for V3. Yeah, I think... I do not think that V3 are going to go through, but I think they've picked up quite a significant number of points. In fact, yeah, they may do. They're ranked 53 in the current standing, so they're at the top end of the losers. From round 1, so yeah, they lost to EM on day 1, fielding a Sleipnir, Nighthawk, 3 Drakes, Curse, Scimitar, and Dramiel. So yeah, they may go through. It's going to be a case of seeing how the rest of the teams do this afternoon, I think, and then we can move from there.
Yeah, that Tengu is trying to get away, but I think all of the Sleipnirs, a lot of the ships from V3 are actually micro-warp drive fitted, so they're catching up to him very, very, very quickly, just dishing out the pounding on him, so it's only a matter of minutes till he goes down. Very unfortunate for HTA. I think they had a pretty decent team coming in, but they just weren't enough for the Nighthawk, the Hurricane Drakes and the Sleipnirs team for V3 here. Yeah,
it's I think the decisive moment was losing that logistics ship for HTA. V3 brought in the 2 Griffins, only 3 points each, and You know, they were enough to keep that logistics ship out of contention for long enough for them to get the damage down on it and get rid of it. I was really surprised to see with the amount of DPS that HTA had that they didn't go from the logistics ship of the V3 team right off the bat. But, you know, it just, to me, just seems like a bad call in FC. And see there, the Tengu now being hailed down upon by what's left of the V3 team.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit of a mistake on the HTA part to not actually call the Griffins primary just at the start of the match. As we all know, a lot of FCs in Tranquility do call electronic warfare ships as primary, and so it's always very risky for these E-War pilots because they're most likely to lose their ships immediately. I'm not quite sure why this time they did not choose to do that. They instead chose to take down the Hurricane first, but it's very clear now that that was kind of a bad move on their part as they lost their logistics ship.
Yep, and it's I think it's just going to be a case of a matter of time now for this remaining Tengu. You can see there we have the Sleipnir, the two Drakes from V3, just chasing him across the field basically now. He's trying to keep range, he's trying to survive long enough, but they're just going to chew through him as soon as they manage to pull him in range.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Drakes on the V3 team here. I think a lot of people underestimate the power of the Drake, and you know, CCP Soundwave absolutely hates Drakes, as we know from his previous commentary. But I think Drakes, because of their, you know, people's distaste for them, they're almost always safe for the last to take down. And these Drakes are actually fitted with assault missiles and heavy assault missiles, and so they can actually dish out way more DPS than the average heavy missile launcher setup can. So I think, you know, that's something that people may underestimate at times, but the Drake can dish out a lot of DPS, so don't underestimate ever a Drake.
Yeah, we have the pair of them on the field now. Both ham fitted, the typical ham Drake loadout, I should imagine, to provide DPS. The problem is it limits the range of the Drake, and at the minute we have this Tengu from HTA, the only ship left on the field, just kind of kiting them, so it's taken them a while to break through him. We do have the Hurricane from V3, who's now managed to get on top of him. Hopefully he'll get a web on him, and these Drakes can catch up and give him more fall.
Yeah, the Tengu is not moving very fast at all. I think the Hurricane actually has him very, very tightly bound in place. Drakes don't move very fast in general. They move like bricks, just like most of the Caldari ships do. But once they do get in range, I think this Tengu's shoot tank is going to go down way, way faster.
Yeah, he's just about out of shield now. There's not a great deal that he's going to be able to be doing. So HTA are fielding the full 100 points. Looks like V3 are going to take all 100 of those, plus the 25, I think, as well. So, or the 25% rather. So puts them in a decent position. It all just comes down to how the rest of the teams do today. It's going to be very difficult to call it till we get to the last few matches, and then we'll get a bit of a clear picture of who's going to manage to scrape through by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, like I said too, said as well before, it's kind of hard to tell who's going to win, who's going to lose, just based on the qualifier round 1 results, because you could score like 100 or 125 on the first round, but you could get wiped out on you know, for the second round, which means that you might not even make it into the quarterfinals. So until the end of the day, then we'll see who's going to make it for our finals.
Yep, and there we go, the Sleipnir and Hurricane getting tackled on that final Tengu from HTA, and he is down and out. V3 takes the match, and we can hand back to Soundwave.
They certainly do. That was a bit of a longer match. We have more coming up, of course. There's still lots of matches all day, and tomorrow, next up is Noir Mercenary Group versus Indecisive Certainty. We'll be right back.